ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्वसे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So dear devotees, we will continue our reading of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adi Khanda, chapter 7. And last time we discussed till verse number 16 of the 7th chapter. We read Niravadhi Thake Sarva Vaishnave Rasange Krishna Katha Krishna Bhakti Krishna Puja Range. We were discussing the qualities of Sri Vishwarup, the elder brother of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we read how he was always engaged in Krishna Katha, Krishna Bhakti, and Krishna Puja Range. Range means he was with great joy always performing and enjoying these three activities: Krishna Katha, Krishna Bhakti, and Krishna Puja, in the association of the devotees like Sri Advaita Prabhu. So this was Vishwarup. Now, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is going to tell us about the situation in Navadvip at that time. Verse number 17. जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। जगत प्रमत्त धन पुत्र विद्यारसे वैष्णव देखिले मात्र सबे उपहसे. What was the activity of the people of Navadvip. Jagat Pramakta. The people of the world in Nadia, in Navadvip, they were Pramatta. They were as if in a state of madness. They were engaged in enjoying what? Dhana Putra Vidya Rase. They were enjoying wealth. They were enjoying their children, family life. They were enjoying the pride of education, being very learned and debating. And Vaishnava Dekhile Matra Sabe Upahase. Whenever they would see a Vaishnava, they would make fun of the Vaishnava. This was the nature of the people of Navadvip. Verse number 18. Arya tarja padhe sab Vaishnava dekhiya yati sati tapasviyo yai be Maria. What would the people do? They would compose blasphemous rhymes and poems and recite them whenever they saw a Vaishnava. They challenged, what is the use of being a sannyasi, yati, a chaste wife, sati, or a tapasvi? They must also die. So we have all heard this type of atheistic propaganda, that what is the use of being a devotee? Ultimately, everyone has to die. So just beg, borrow, or steal, just enjoy. This is the motto of certain atheistic people. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in his Gaudiya Bhashya commentary, purport to this verse number 18, he writes, I am reading, the atheistic residents of Navadvip at that time followed the doctrine of Charvaka Muni, and they were thus intoxicated by sense gratification because of falsely identifying themselves with their bodies. So if we see, my dear friends, in this material world also, there is a lot of propaganda that just enjoy, don't be so austere, no need to give up enjoyment, just enjoy life, be happy, no need to fast, no need to give up meat eating, no need to do this, no need to do that. Once a friend of mine, I had taken up to Krishna consciousness and he had not, but we were friends before. So after I was trying to follow the principles of Krishna consciousness, we went to another friend's house. So previously I used to eat meat, and then after I met devotees, I gave up. So all three of us used to eat meat. So now we go to this friend's house, both of us, and he served us some meat. So I said, I will not take. I am trying to follow Krishna consciousness and we have 4 regulative principles, so I will not eat. So my friend who was accompanying me, he told our host that I am not so complicated like this fellow. He is too fussy. I don't eat this, I don't eat that. I offer to Krishna before I eat. Too much jhanjat jhamela, too much complication. I am not like that. My dear friend, whatever you give me, I will eat. I am very simple. I am not like this, complicated. Whatever you give me, I will eat. You give me beef, I will eat. You give me chicken, I will eat. You give me fish, I will eat. You give me vegetarian, I will eat. I have nothing. What? जो कुछ दोगे मैं खा लूंगा. He did like this. जो कुछ दोगे मैं खा लूंगा. मैं तकलीफ नहीं देता. I don't want to give trouble. Whatever you give me, I will eat. I am very simple. And the host, our friend, he was so happy. He said, see, you should be like this. He is such a good guest. He doesn't give any trouble. I said, I'm not asking you for any food. Don't give me anything. But I'm not going to eat meat. That's all. So this is the propaganda, that we are being difficult. we are being difficult, we are making things complicated. Just go with the flow, just be happy, just do what everyone is doing. So this type of philosophy is also there. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying this type of nonsense philosophy exists only because they are falsely identifying themselves with their bodies. They want to satisfy their taste buds. They want to satisfy whatever their mind is telling them. Because why? Because they think I am this body. If I do this, I'll be happy. If I do that, I'll be happy. So they feel that by engaging in gratifying the material senses, that is the way to real happiness, they feel. But our philosophy is that prakriti sthani karshati. Manah shashtani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. Because we are falsely identifying ourselves with this body, instead of understanding that mama amsha jiva loka jiva bhuta sanatana. We are Krishna's parts and parcels, and we are supposed to cooperate with Krishna's plan. We are supposed to follow Krishna's instructions. Instead of understanding this, what do? Manaha shashtani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. We are thinking that we are this body made up of the 6 senses, the 5 indriyas: eyes, nose, tongue, skin, and ears, and the mind, which is the 6th sense. Manaha shashtani indriyani. Shashtani indriyani means 6 indriyas. We think we are this body made up of the 6 senses, and prakriti sthani karshati. In this prakriti, in this material world, we are working very hard to satisfy our senses because we are identified with the body. But because devotees identify themselves with Krishna, they are trying to satisfy Krishna. This is the difference. Atmendriya priti ichha dhare kama nam. When you want to satisfy your own senses, it is called kam, lust. Krishna indriya priti vancha dhare prema nam. But if you want to satisfy Krishna's senses, that is called prem. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada writes further, whenever they saw the pure Vaishnavas, they would tease them with poems they had composed. Just see, they had taken the trouble of composing Taraja. Taraja. It is called a poem to blaspheme the devotees. It comes from the Arabic word, Taraja. So they had composed these poems just to tease the devotees. They even said that the performance of religious duties by sannyasis, chaste women, and ascetics is useless. Because in spite of accumulating great piety, the performers cannot save themselves from death. So there is no need to observe such religious duties. In other words, they considered such people unfortunate miscreants. Hare Krishna. So all the good qualities, taking sannyas, being a chaste woman, asceticism, being austere, being renounced, is useless. These people used to say. Such propaganda. Tare bali sukritiye dola ghoda chade dasha bisha jana yara age pache rade. So these atheistic people, these blasphemers, what they would say, we consider someone to be successful only if he can ride in a palanquin, dola. He should have a palanquin or ghoda, horse. They should have a horse. And dasha bisha jana yara age piche rade. And they should have 10-20 people around them, running around at their beck and call, doing their bidding, serving them. Only if you have servants, you have a palanquin with palanquin carriers, you have horses and all these luxuries, then you are successful. In contemporary terms, this translates to having a house, big house, having a car, having lots of money, enjoying expensive vacations, all these things. The foolish atheistic people consider these things, material things, to be the standard of success. But is that the standard of success? No. What is the standard of success? Samsiddhir Hari Toshanam. What is our samsiddhi? What is our supreme perfection? Siddhi means perfection. Samsiddhi means the ultimate perfection. What is the ultimate perfection of our lives? Samsiddhi Hari Toshana. If we can please Lord Hari, if we can please Krishna, then our life is successful. That is how we judge our life. Etaye gosai bhave karah krandana tabuta daridrya dukha nahaya khandana. You all cry for the Lord, Krishna, Krishna. The atheistic people are commenting. All of you devotees, you are crying for the Lord with love and devotion. Yet you remain poverty stricken. Daridrya dukkhana hayakhandana. Although you are doing bhave karaha krandana, with great feelings you are crying for Krishna, but still we can see that daridrya dukkhana hayakhandana. Still that Krishna is not relieving you of your poverty, of all the sufferings and sorrows that ordinary people who don't pray are facing. So this is a great philosophical question, my dear friends. We are chanting Hare Krishna. We are fasting on Ekadashi. We are worshipping the deity of Krishna. We are offering artis. We are associating with devotees. We are eating only Krishna Prasad, which is pure vegetarian food offered to Krishna with love and devotion. We are spending our time reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, instead of watching news, sports, politics, movies, cinema, browsing the internet. This is what most of the people are doing around us. 99% of the people are doing these things and getting rasa from that. Having just parties with friends. What are these parties? You just order some food from some restaurant, look good, just drink some wine, some alcoholic beverages, or even if it is vegetarian food, it is not offered to Krishna. We are enjoying it for ourselves. Gunjate te to agam papa yah pachanti atma karana. For ourselves we are cooking without offering it to the Lord. Such ingratitude. Everything has been given by, supplied by Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna. And without offering Krishna, we are just enjoying everything selfishly. What kind of civilization is this? What kind of humanity is this? So they are saying that you are following all these principles, all these rules, regulations, restrictions, but still you get the same diseases. Your life expectancy is the same. You also live the same number of years. You also get the same diseases. You also die. You also suffer. Why should we do it? Why should we practice all these principles of Krishna consciousness? Why not live normal life, so-called normal life, and just enjoy? Ultimately, death will come to both the devotees and the non-devotees, isn't it? This is a philosophical point. Etaye gosai bhave karah krandana. Although all you gosais, Goswamis, you have controlled your senses. Go means senses, Swami means control. Although you are controlling all your senses and with feeling krandana, you are crying for Krishna. Tabuta daridra dukkha nahaya khandana. Still your poverty and your sorrows and sufferings and diseases are not being destroyed by Krishna. So what is the use of your Krishna bhakti? So what should we think about this point that the atheists are raising? Vishwarup is watching all this and he's developing a sense of great detachment when he sees all this nonsense in the society. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada also was quite disgusted with this type of modern propaganda, atheistic propaganda. And in his last days, he reflected and he concluded that this material world is not a place for gentlemen and ladies. It's not a place for devotees. Too much opposition, too much antagonism to Krishna consciousness. The thing is, my dear friends, Krishna consciousness has to be experienced. If we practice Krishna consciousness nicely, if we don't criticize devotees, if we chant our rounds attentively, and we are always in a prayerful mood, hey Guru and Gauranga, hey Guru Gauranga, please purify me. Please give me taste, give me Namruchi, give me Vaishnav Seva, give me pure bhakti. If we are praying for Prema Bhakti. We are praying for Uttama Bhakti. Krishna will give it to us, my dear friends. And then we will realize. They are saying, Dasha, Bisha, Jana, Jara, Aage Piche, Rade. 10, 20 people should be serving you. That is success of life. When 10, 20 devotees come together in a room and we do Harinam Sankirtan, if we are following the process of Krishna consciousness properly, my dear friends, I am telling you with full conviction that simple Harinam Sankirtan performed in the association of devotees is more relishable, more enjoyable, more fulfilling to the heart than going to the best of stadium and watching a baseball game or a basketball game or a football game or watching news on the biggest 70, 80, 90-inch flat screen television, plasma television, or watching the favorite TV show, favorite movie with whatever in a home theater, or I don't know, whatever they call it, virtual experience mask that they wear. Much more enjoyable than going on any cruise, eating in any restaurant. Why should we eat outside food? We don't even know who has cooked it. They have not cooked it out of love for us. But when devotees invite, when devotees cook for Krishna, they are cooking out of love. They're cooking out of devotion. And those feelings of love and devotion have percolated into that bhoga. And then Krishna accepts it. Krishna blesses it. It becomes Krishna's blessing, Krishna's prasad, Krishna's mercy. And with that attitude, the hard labor of some nice devotees who have cooked it and Krishna's remnants, when we eat it, it is so tasty and it is so sweet and so satisfying to the heart. Harinam Sankirtan is so sweet, so satisfying to the heart. Such bliss is there in Harinam Sankirtan. Hearing Krishna Katha, hearing the message of our Krishna from Gaur Premijan, devotees who love Gauranga Mahaprabhu, when we hear from them, it is so relishable. It is so relishable. Just yesterday, we had a satsang, and our beloved His Grace Amarendra Prabhu gave a 2 to 2.5 hour class on Jagannath. Very, very beautiful, very deep class on Jagannath. And unfortunately, someone said that all this talk of Jagannath and Srimati Radharani, and Krishna, and Baldev, and Subhadra, this is like some filmy talk, like a cinema talk. Boy and girl feeling separation. And then that devotee mentioned to me some faults of the assembled devotees. They are attached to material things. They are attached to this, they are attached to that. They are not doing this thing properly, devotional service properly. And I felt so pained when I heard that. First of all, equating Krishna Katha with some Hollywood or Bollywood or some movie, cinema, mundane, romantic story. But where is this durbuddhi? Where is this kubuddhi? Where is this bad intelligence coming from? It is coming from Vaishnava Aparadha. Because next moment that devotee told me that these devotees are sitting, they are doing like this, they are doing like that. I was very pained to hear. But it all made sense. Why it made sense? Because this devotee was committing Vaishnava Aparadha. Therefore, this devotee was seeing Harikatha as a story of ordinary boy and girl. Therefore, if we are fault finding, if we are criticizing devotees, if we are committing Vaishnava is very subtle and it is very, very serious impediment to our spiritual life. If we criticize devotees, especially devotees who are trying to spread the holy name, Satam Ninda. Satam is a very advanced devotee. It's called Satam. The first Vaishnava Prada called Padma Purana is Satam Ninda. Ninda means to criticize, and Satam means advanced devotees. Devotees who are preaching, the preachers are very, very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear friends. Preachers like His Grace Amarendra Prabhu, and all the preachers. There are so many. They are very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is Sakshi for this. It is the witness for this. It's a pastime, but it tells an important principle. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela, episode comes where Sri Sanatan Goswami is in Jagannath Puri. He has come to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his whole body is covered with a rash, ulcers, pus, blood, foul smell, oozing from all his ulcers, all over the body, not just in one place. It's all over the body. His face, his torso, his upper limbs, his lower limbs, everywhere, his back. Because of that, he is not able to perform any devotional service. He cannot cook for the devotees. He cannot associate with devotees. He cannot embrace devotees. He cannot visit any temples. He cannot touch Bhagavatam. Just too much. He cannot worship the deities. So Srila Sanatan Goswami is very much distressed. And to add to his distress, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loves him so much that every day when he comes to meet him in the morning, he brings Jagannath's Upala Bhog, Jagannath Mahaprasad for Haridas Thakur and Sanatan Goswami. And not only that, when they offer obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu comes and picks up Sanatan Goswami and tightly embraces him every day, every morning. And when Mahaprabhu embraces Sanatan Goswami, whose body is covered with ulcers and pus and blood, all that pus and blood gets smeared on the beautiful form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sanatan Goswami worships the divine form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the altar of his heart, day and night, to see that sacred, holy, worshipable Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being defiled by the pus and blood of my body, not once, not twice, but every single day, was unbearable for Sanatan Goswami. It is such a disservice I'm doing to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was very much in distress. What is the use of my life? Guhyam akhyati prachati, Sri Rupa Goswami says. But when we have Sajatiya Sangha, when we have like-minded devotees, we can confidentially share our heart with them. So one day, Srila Sanatan Goswami was sitting with Sri Jagadananda Pandit. Jagadananda Pandit is a very great devotee of Mahaprabhu. Sanatan Goswami revealed his heart. My dear Jagadananda Pandit, I am very much pained. Every day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraces me forcefully. I tell him, don't touch me. Morena chuniya Prabhu, pado to mar paay, nicha jati adhama, kandura sagai. Morena chuniya Prabhu, please don't touch me, my dear Lord, Sanatan Goswami would say. Morena chuniya Prabhu, pado to mar paay. I fall at your feet begging you, please, please, please don't touch me. Morena chuniya Prabhu, pado to mar paay, nicha jati adhama. First of all, I belong to a neech jati, a low class family. Adham, I don't have any devotion, I'm very fallen. Kandura sagai. And all over my body, there are kandus, there are ulcers, rasagai. And these are not dry ulcers, they are wet ulcers with pus and blood and foul smell emanating from. Please, please, please don't touch me. But still, forcefully, Mahaprabhu with his long ajanulambita bhuja, with his long arms, would grab Sanatan Goswami, pull him and embrace him with great love. Tight, long embrace. My dear Sanatan, my dear Sanatan, I love you so much. My dear Sanatan, how much troubles you faced. You were put in the jail by Nawab Hussain Shah. Somehow you escaped. You walked all alone 1,000 kilometers from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri just to come and see me. You were so rich, you were so comfortable, you were so wealthy, so affluent. You gave up everything. Tyaktva turnamashesha mandalapati shrenim sada tuchhavat. You gave up everything for my sake, Sanatan. I am yours and you are mine. I love you, my dear Sanatan. You are so special. This was Mahaprabhu's love. He would embrace. And Sanatan Goswami was so heartbroken, so pained to defile the body of Mahaprabhu. He had tears in his eyes. He told Jagadananda Pandit, my dear Jagadananda Pandit, I cannot bear to live like this. Every day Mahaprabhu embraces me. Jagadananda Pandit said, my dear Sanatan Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already said that your home is Sri Vrindavan Dham. Vrindavan is your Guru Pradatta Sthan. Mahaprabhu has said that you go to Vrindavan and along with Rupa Goswami, you write books, you establish temple, you excavate the holy places, you teach people, teach the world what is Krishna Prem, what is Krishna Tattva. Krishna Tattva, Krishna Prema, Seva Pravartan, Lupta Tirtha Uddhara Ar Vairagya Shikshan. Go to Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu has already told you. So my dear Sanatan Goswami, why are you staying here in Jagannath Puri? Go to Vrindavan Dham, that is your home, and carry out the mission of Mahaprabhu. Srila Sanatan Goswami replied to Jagadananda Pandit, my dear Jagadananda Pandit, you have given me such a good advice. You are my true friend. Yes, of course. Mahaprabhu has given me service. What am I doing here in Jagannath Puri Dham? I will leave tomorrow. I will take permission from Mahaprabhu and I will go back to Vrindavan. And there I will live alone and do my seva. But I cannot allow Mahaprabhu's body to be contaminated by my pus and blood like this. Before leaving Jagannath Puri, Sanatan Goswami went to Mahaprabhu to take permission. Mahaprabhu said, why have you decided to leave? Sanatan Goswami said, my service is in Vrindavan and here I don't like that you embrace me every day and your body gets smeared by my pus and blood. So please let me go. And I am not making this decision independently. I have discussed with Jagadananda Pandit and he also is of this opinion that I should leave and go back to Vrindavan. Who is that Jagga? Mahaprabhu became very angry. Who is that Jagga? He has the audacity to advise you? Sanatan, you are a very advanced devotee. You are so advanced that you have a position to advise me. You have a right to teach me. And this Kali Kale Batua Jagga Aise Gar Vihaila Tomasa Majana E Hai Upadesh Karila. This yesterday's boy, Jagadananda Pandit, Mahaprabhu didn't even call him Jagadananda Pandit, Jagga. Kalikale Batua Jagga, this Batua Jagga, this boy Jagga, Aise Garvi Haila, he has become so proud. Tomasana Jana, he Upadesh Karila. He's giving Upadesh advice to a great person like you. This is intolerable for me. Mahaprabhu became very angry at Jagadananda Pandit. He said, Sanatan, you are going to write books. Your books will be used to preach Krishna consciousness all over the world. You are going to deliver the whole universe, Sanatan Goswami. And this Jagga has the audacity to instruct you. I'm telling you the story, my dear friend, to teach you how dear the advanced devotees are to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Devotees, our Guru Varga who are preaching, they are very dear to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu will not tolerate any infraction against them, any insult or humiliation or criticism of the devotees. All devotees, but especially the advanced devotee. The more the devotee is advanced, the more severe the Vaishnava Aparadha is, my dear friends. So this loss of taste for Krishna Katha, that you are seeing the Katha of Krishna and Srimati Radharani as some cinema story. This faulty mindset is a result of Vaishnava Aparadha. Therefore, we have to be extremely careful. We may love one devotee. We may be sold out to our Guru Maharaj. We may be sold out to our Shiksha Guru or Shiksha Gurus or our devotee friends that we love. And we may hold a grudge against one devotee. And that one grudge against one devotee is enough to ruin our taste in Krishna consciousness. We cannot have ill feelings for any single person in this world and hope to go back home, back to Godhead. Impossible. Impossible. A grudging heart, a complaining heart, a fault-finding heart, even though we may be fault-finding against one devotee, because we know, we are convinced that devotee is not a good devotee. That devotee has made mistakes. That devotee is a cheater. And that's why we have a grudge against that devotee. We will not go back home, back to Godhead. 100% guaranteed. Because we do not have the right to judge. If we are judging other devotees, my Guru Maharaj always says, very important deep point, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj says, if we judge other devotees, we are taking the position of Paramatma. Because we are not Paramatma. We don't know, we can only see the actions of people. This devotee did this. But do we know what is the intention? Both things are important, action and intention. Putana came like a very loving mother to Krishna. She was well dressed. She wanted to feed milk to Krishna. The action was beautiful. Action was glorious. You want to feed milk to Krishna. Very nice. But what was the intention? Action and intention. So both are important. Both are important. Action as well as intention. We can only see the action, but we don't know the intention. Dhritarashtra wanted to embrace Bhimsen after the Kurukshetra war. Bring Bhimsen, he is victorious. I want to embrace him. Now he is my son. I have lost my sons. So now Bhim is like my son. Bring him, I want to embrace him. Action is very nice. I want to embrace. But what is the intention? What is the intention? On the other hand, Bhishma Dev is shooting arrows at Arjuna and Krishna. And Mahabharata describes that the arrows were hitting Arjuna and they were hitting Krishna, and Krishna was bleeding. Hare Krishna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes this in his commentary to the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam also, that Krishna was bleeding. Blood was coming out of the Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha of Krishna. Blood was flowing when Bhishma Dev's arrows were piercing the body of Krishna, Partha Sarathi Krishna. Action is horrible. We offer Aarti to Krishna. Carefully. We massage Shaligram Shila with fragrant oil. We put chandan carefully. We put nice soft cloth to Krishna to wear. We offer nice fragrant flower garland to Krishna. And what is Bhishma Dev doing? He's shooting arrows. Can you imagine shooting an arrow at Krishna? We will not even point the arrow towards the altar. No. He is shooting arrows to Krishna, making Krishna bleed. Hare Krishna. Action is horrendous. Action is horrible. What is the intention? What is the intention of Bhishma Dev? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, maybe it's not appropriate. Sometimes children are listening. Read it for yourself. Srila Prabhupada writes it in the purports to the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. What was Krishna feeling when Bhishma Dev's arrows were piercing Krishna's body? Krishna was getting great pleasure. Great pleasure, because Krishna wanted to teach the world that you may be a great warrior like Bhishma Dev, the most powerful warrior, who even Parshuram could not defeat. Hare Krishna. The Supreme Lord could not defeat Bhishma Dev. You may be Ganga Putra Bhishma. You may be Brihaspati Shishya Bhishma. You may be Shantanu Nandan Bhishma. Very great personality. But if you are on the side of Adharma, if you are on the side of Duryodhan, you will be finished. This lesson Krishna wanted to teach the whole world for all time to come. No matter how qualified you are, no matter how powerful you are, if you are on the side of adharma, you will be finished. To teach this lesson, Krishna wanted his own, one of the 12 Mahajans, his own pure devotee, Bhishma Dev, to stand on the side of Duryodhana, to stand against Arjun and fight. So Bhishma Dev was playing a role. So he was playing the role with full vigor. All right, Krishna, you want me to pretend to be your enemy? I will act like your enemy. So action is like an enemy of Krishna. But what is the intention? To serve Krishna, to please Krishna. So action, intention, both have to be seen. So Srila Guru Maharaj was saying that if you judge others, because we are not Paramatma, only Paramatma knows the intention. We only know the action. We can only see the action. We cannot see the intention. So we have only half knowledge. So we cannot judge. Hare Krishna. One who knows action and intention can judge. Only Krishna can judge. If we judge others, we are taking Krishna's position, which means we are envious of Krishna, which means we are Krishna's competitors, which we don't want to be. A devotee is never Krishna's competitor. A devotee is Krishna's servant of the sun. Gopi bhartuhu padakamalayora dasa dasa anudasa. So this is a very subtle point, my dear friends. Vaishnava Aparadh will take away our taste in Harikatha, will take away our taste in chanting, 100%. So we have to be very, very careful, never to criticize anyone. Never to criticize anyone. When we come to Krishna consciousness, we make a rapid spiritual advancement. Watch any new devotee who comes. Please listen to this carefully. Watch any new devotee who comes to Krishna consciousness. They make a rapid spiritual advancement in the first few weeks. Because everybody is Prabhu, Mataji, everybody is senior to me. We are just soaking in. We are just learning. Oh, that devotee is so nice. That Mataji is so nice. Everything is so nice. Everybody is so nice. We are glorifying devotees and therefore we are making rapid spiritual advancement. But then what happens after some time? Now we have hung around with devotees for some time. Now we start seeing faults in them. Now we start seeing their faults. Now we become familiar with them. Familiarity breeds contempt. Ati parichayat avagya. And then we start criticizing devotees. First we are scared to criticize. We hesitate. But then we see nothing is happening. I still have my tilak. My kanthi didn't fall off. Devotees are still offering dandavat to me. They are still calling me Prabhu. I think I'm okay. I can get away with that. So we have a tendency to criticize in the material life. Then we come to spiritual life and we continue that same tendency of criticizing, finding faults. But spiritual life is not like material life, my dear friends. We cannot criticize. We cannot. It is the first nama pradha. We criticize devotees, we will soon criticize Guru. We will soon criticize Vedic scriptures or scriptures and persons of the Vedic version. Please, we have to be very careful. We should not criticize. Tongue is meant to glorify, not criticize. We have to be very careful. See, all these devotees all these people of Navad, they are in a dham. They are Navadvipasis. And they are in the presence of Mahaprabhu. They are in the presence of Vishwarup. They are in the presence of Srivas Thakur. They are in the presence of Thakur Haridas. They are in the presence of Advaita Prabhu. And still they are criticizing. Just see. They have Dhammas. They have Krishna Sangha, Vaishnava Sangha, and still they are criticizing the devotees. So we have to be very careful, my dear friends. We have to be very careful. This tendency of criticism is very dangerous. Ghana ghana hari hari bali chhada daka kruddhaya gosai shuni line bada dhaka. You loudly and repeatedly chant the name of Lord Hari. Hari Hari Bali. But he becomes angry when anyone loudly chants his name. Now see, now they are teaching the devotees. Now these atheistic people are teaching Vishwarup. They are teaching Advaita Prabhu. They are teaching Srivas Thakur. They are teaching Thakur Haridas. They are telling Ghana Ghana Hari Hari Bali Chhada. Loudly. Dak means loudly you are calling out Hari 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 Hari. Are, don't you know? The Vedic scriptures forbid us from chanting the name of Krishna loudly. Naam, mantra should be chanted softly, silently, secretly. You don't know? You have not read the Vedic scriptures? Now, authorities like Advaita Prabhu, Vishwarup is Balram ji, Advaita Prabhu is Lord Mahavishnu and Sadashiv, Haridas Thakur is Brahma ji. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar are there in the Dham, and these blasphemers are criticizing them and teaching them about Vedas. The Vedas are emanating. For Brahmaji's 4 mouths, the 4 Vedas are coming. That Brahmaji is present as Haridas Thakur. Brahmaji is coming from the navel of Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, who is coming from Mahavishnu. And they are criticizing Mahavishnu, Advaita Prabhu. And Balramji is source of everything. And they are criticizing Balramji, who is Vishwarup. This is how much our intelligence can get polluted. You have to be very careful. Ei mata bole Krishna bhakti shunya jane, shuni maha dukkha paya bhagavata gane. People who were devoid of devotion for the Supreme Lord would speak to the Vaishnavas in this way. And the devotees felt great sorrow on hearing such things. See this. Ei mata, in this way, bole Krishna bhakti shunya jane. These people who are teaching how Krishna Nam should be chanted silently, how Krishna Nam should not be chanted loudly, how these people are useless. They are Krishna bhakti shunya jane. Which means people who criticize are Krishna bhakti shunya. They are Krishna bhakti shunya. Srila Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj would call them Radha shunya. They are Radha shunya, he would say. All the blasphemers. Why? Because they are doing aparadh. Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said, aparadh. It takes us away from Radharani. Aparadh. It takes us away from Radharani. Therefore, people who criticize, who commit Vaishnava aparadh are Radha shunya. And it is a fact. They are Radha shunya. Radharani's mercy will not reach them because they are blocking themselves with the powerful umbrella of Vaishnava aparadh. The mercy is pouring, but their hearts will not get wet with that shower of mercy. Their hearts will remain dry like deserts. Ei mata bole Krishna bhakti shunya jana. Shuni maha dukkha paya bhagavata gana. And what was the effect on the devotees hearing such blasphemy? The devotees felt sad. This is an important principle, my dear friends. Sometimes what happens is, when someone does something to us, says something, we get angry. We get anger. We don't have a right to become angry. We have a right to feel sorrow in our heart. Shuni maha dukkha paya. Maha dukkha paya. They became very sad, the devotees. Bhagavata gane. When they heard such criticism, such blasphemy of Nam Sankirtan, such blasphemy of the devotees felt very sad in their heart. But they didn't get angry. They felt sad. There's a difference here. We have a right to feel sad when people become Krishna Bahirmukh, but we don't have a right to get angry at them. Why we don't have a right to get angry? Because we are not purified yet. Srila Prabhupada can apparently get angry, but in his anger also there is mercy. Once my Guru Maharaj was saying that because something was there and Srila Prabhupada was being heavy on Darwin. So Prabhupada says this, Darwin's grandfather might have been a monkey, but our grandfather was not a monkey. So like that. And it was a preaching program, Prerana. So in Prerana lecture, all these youth are sitting, college boys are sitting, and they have taken Diksha from Darwin. They are Darwin Dikshit. Because in school they have been taught this philosophy of evolution. So to hear blasphemy of their Gurudev, Darwin Maharaj, they became very sentimental. So they started arguing with Maharaj. Oh, you're talking like this about Darwin. This, that. Then Maharaj, why is Prabhupada criticizing Darwin like this? So Srila Radhanaswami Maharaj said, Srila Radhanaswami Maharaj said, I don't think in the history of mankind there has been a greater well-wisher of Darwin than Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. I don't think in the history of mankind there has been a greater well-wisher of Charles Darwin than Srila Prabhupada. Why? Because Srila Prabhupada, coming from the Rasa Leela, from the Seva Kunj of Sri Goloka Vrindavan Dham, he comes down to this earth planet, and here is an atheist, and Srila Prabhupada is putting his Kripa Kataksh on him. giving him importance, talking about him, analyzing his philosophy. What mercy! What mercy on Charles Darwin that Srila Prabhupada is thinking about him. Just because Srila Prabhupada has thought about Darwin, Darwin will be elevated. Krishna will cast his mercy. Because Prabhupada looked at him, Krishna will look at him. So Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj said, I don't think in the history of mankind there has been a greater well-wisher of Charles Darwin than Srila Prabhupada. Srivas Thakur slapped hard the minister of Maharaj Pratap Rudra. You know that story. Harichandan. Maharaj Pratap Rudra had his chief minister, Harichandan, in Jagannath. Rath Yatra is going on. Aha. Mahaprabhu is dancing. And there are so many circles, 3 circles of devotees protecting Mahaprabhu. Outermost circle is the Navadvip devotees, consisting of, the second circle was devotees of Navadvip. Innermost circle was Govinda, Kashishwar Pandit, Ramananda Rai, Swarup Damodar, the inner core devotees. Outside that were the devotees of Navadvip, like Srivas Thakur. They were there. And outside that was the local Orissa, Puri devotees, like Maharaj Pratap Rudra and his ministers and everyone. Sarabhama Bhattacharya and others. And because the third circle was Maharaj Pratap Rudra really wanted to see Mahaprabhu because Mahaprabhu was dancing so gracefully in front of Jagannath, because Mahaprabhu is in Radha Bhav. Imagine Srimati Radharani dancing. So Mahaprabhu was dancing in front of Jagannath. Jagannath is Krishna. Mahaprabhu is in Radha Bhav. Mahaprabhu was dancing such a dance no one has seen in the history of this planet. Such amazing dance. And Maharaj Pratap Rudra did not want to miss out. He's trying to look, but in front of him is Srivas Thakur's Navadvip devotees circle. Inside that is Kashishwar Pandit, Govinda, Ramananda, Swarup Damodar. And inside is Mahaprabhu. He's having a tough time seeing Mahaprabhu. And Srivas Thakur is right in front of him. And Srivas Thakur is also dancing with his arms upraised. Kirtan is going on and Srivas Thakur is dancing and dancing and dancing. And Maharaj Pratap Rudra is behind Srivas Thakur. Because of Srivas Thakur's upraised hands and dancing and jumping up and down, Maharaj Pratap Rudra is not able to take darshan of Mahaprabhu. So Harichandan, the chief minister of Maharaj Pratap Rudra, immediately notices the problem. My king is not able to take darshan. So he pats Srivas Thakur on the shoulder. Srivas Prabhu, move a little bit to the side. The king is not able to see Mahaprabhu. But Srivas Thakur is in avesh. He is in ecstasy. He is completely unaware of the ecstasy. He is dancing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Complete ecstasy, complete bliss. He is oblivious to the tapping on his shoulder. Harichandan again pats. Srivas Thakur, Maharaj Pratap Rudra is not able to see Mahaprabhu. Please move to the side. Srivas Thakur doesn't respond because he's unaware. He's just dancing. Finally, Harichandan pats really hard on the shoulder of Srivas Thakur. Srivas. Srivas Thakur is in Samadhi, watching the dance of Gaur Natraj. Seeing his dance, Srivas Thakur is in Samadhi. Suddenly there is patting. He gets so disturbed. He turns around and gives a tight slap to the person who was patting on his shoulder. That is Harichandan, the chief minister. Chief minister is slapped by a visiting skinny Vaishnava from Bengal on the streets, on Grand Road, in Jagannath Rath Yatra, in front of all the citizens and all the tourists, all the pilgrims. He's given a tight slap. Harichandan is so angry, he wants to retaliate. He wants to retaliate against Srivas Thakur. Maharaj Pratap Rudra holds him back. He said, are you a fool? Foolish chief minister? You want to retaliate against Srivas Thakur? You want to get angry at Srivas Thakur? Don't you realize Srivas Thakur has slapped you? I wish Srivas Thakur slaps me 1,000,000 times. A pure devotee has touched you. That hand that never leaves the Tulsi Mala, that hand that chants Naam, that hand that has done Aarti of Mahaprabhu so many times, that hand that has massaged Mahaprabhu, that hand that has served prasad to Mahaprabhu innumerable times in Srivasangan, that hand has touched you. Rascal, you should be happy. Don't get agitated. Be happy. Today you got the mercy of Srivas Thakur. I wish I get that mercy too. Shant. Harichandan became Shant. Dandavat Pranam Srivas. Maharaj Pratap explained, do you know what is the effect of getting angry at Srivas Thakur? There was one man called Gopal Chapala. One time he got angry. He got leprosy within 3 days. Because of leprosy, he was banished to the forest. He lost his family, he lost his house, he lost his wealth, he lost his health. And he had to live alone in the forest. Harichandan. There was another person who got angry at Srivas Thakur. The disciples of Devananda Pandit. They were reading Srimad Bhagavatam day in and day out, but they got no rasa. They had no understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam because of Vaishnava Prad. Don't commit Vaishnava Prad. Harichandan offered his obeisances to Srivas Thakur. So, my dear friends, indeed, because Srila Prabhupada gave slaps to Charles Darwin through his thunderbolt-like arguments, Charles Darwin is blessed. And he's not here physically to retaliate also. That's good. That's his good fortune. He will definitely, Krishna will definitely cast his glance because Srila Prabhupada has remembered Charles Darwin. Hare Krishna. What is the time? Oh, it's 9 o'clock. So we'll stop. We've covered till verse number 21. We are discussing how the atheists are behaving in Navadvip. Their misbehavior is going to prompt Vishwarup to take sannyas. Hare Krishna. So we will stop here. Are there any questions or any corrections or comments? Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Mahashay ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hare Hare Krishna. So, Kasturi Banjamatari, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, thank you so much for this very instructive class, as well as the heart melting, very, very nicely you describing the pastimes with a great lesson to not criticize and not fault find or not judge the devotees. And the point that you made about like how Srila Radhanath Maharaj speaks about that's not the position. We are not Paramatma, so we don't have that, we cannot judge anyone. Yes, Prabhu. I mean, I know this fact very well that this is the greatest aparadh is to judge or criticize or to fault find a devotee. But even though I know it, I don't want to do it at all. But still, it feels like the mind does these things again and again, even though I don't want it. So please, Prabhu, please guide me so that I can get over this kind of tendency. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Kasturi Manjari Mataji. You are very humble, Mataji. That's why you're speaking like this for our benefit. But we should try to focus on the good qualities of devotees. Whenever some fault becomes visible, that is actually our fault only. Because Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that because we have faults in ourselves, we see those faults in others. Actually, they are our faults getting reflected in them. For example, if I am envious of somebody and somebody doesn't reciprocate with me, I will immediately come to the conclusion, oh, he is envious of me. Why did I think even of the word envy? Because I already have it in me. Because I have envy in my heart, I am seeing that person also envy. Oh, he must be envious of me. In Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there's a very nice book called The Seventh Goswami. The Seventh Goswami is a biography of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Mahasaya. In that, where it is mentioned that there was a British judge in Bengal who was a contemporary of Srila Thakur Bhaktivinoda. And because Bhaktivinoda Thakur was so thorough, so balanced, and so competent in his work as a judge, he was getting promotions. And this British judge was academically equally qualified, but he was not as competent as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So both of them were contemporaries, and this British judge became envious of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was also working as a judge in the British government. And he became so envious of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur that he actually was plotting to get him killed. Hare Krishna. He wanted to hire some henchmen and get Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur killed. But somehow he never did that. Bhaktivinoda Thakur got transferred to another place, and then that competition was not there. This also teaches us that we have to be very careful of envy. We may not be envious of someone who is doing some other service. For example, if I am a pujari and someone is a kirtan singer, I may not be envious of that kirtan singer because the field of service is different. But if someone is also a pujari like me, and when he dresses the deities are looking more beautiful. He's more expert. He knows how to tie the turban better than me. And therefore, on big festivals like Janmashtami, Radhashtami, the temple management tells that devotee to dress the deities. Oh, I may become envious. The same service. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur and this British magistrate had the same service, so they became envious. So we have to be careful of envy, especially careful of envy when it comes to devotees who are in the same service. Two kirtan singers, two mridanga players, two harikatha speakers. We have to be very careful. We have to know that Krishna is watching me. Krishna knows all my thoughts and intentions. But anyway, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur got transferred, and then they never interacted with each other. Many years passed, and then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur retired and came back to Bengal. And now he retired in his Sukhada Seva Kunj in Navadvip, Godrum Dvip, in his house in Godrum Dvip, and he was doing his bhajan happily. Now this British officer realized that this Bhaktivinoda Thakur has retired, and he has become a great devotee. So he had some appreciation, having lived in India for so many years. He had some appreciation for the Vaishnava culture. So he came to meet Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur one day. Now previously they were magistrates, they were judges, they were colleagues. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur has retired and has become a Paramhamsa. So this British officer comes to meet him, and he reveals to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur because he's feeling guilty, and in the Christian culture it is that you should confess. So he came and he confessed that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, now you have become a great devotee, but when you were a judge and we were colleagues, I was very envious of you. For a long time, I harbored hatred and envy towards you. So much so that I actually contemplated getting you killed, but I never did it. I'm glad I did not. So I just want to offer my apologies, and I pray to you that you please forgive me. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says there is no question of holding any grudge against you. I always considered you as my friend, as my well-wisher. So I bless you. I pray for all good fortune for you. And then the British officer left. But then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote in his diary that I was rather surprised to know that this nice ex-colleague of mine harbored such spite, such hatred, such jealousy toward me. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very surprised. Why was he surprised? Because he himself did not have envy towards anyone. So he could never think that this person could be envious of me. Because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had no envy within himself. So when we think that that person is trying to be mean to me, that person is trying to be passive aggressive with me, or that person is trying to put me down, or that person is envious of me, it is because we have those bad qualities in us. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur could not see those qualities in others because he himself was nirmatsar. Hare Krishna. So we should see the good qualities in others always. Whatever bad qualities we see are actually a reflection of our own anarthas, our own bad qualities. So we should focus on the good qualities. When two devotees would quarrel and fight in the Gaudiya Math, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada would bring them face to face and then challenge them. Prabhu, tell me 5 good qualities of this devotee. And Prabhu, you tell me 5 good qualities of this devotee. And he would make them glorify each other. Because by doing that, you start seeing the good in others. So the solution is to see good in others. And to always be mindful of this fact that we should not commit Vaishnava Aparadha. Our Shastras are filled with examples how Vaishnava Aparadha can be dangerous. There's a story of Durvas Muni and Ambarish Maharaj. There's a story of Saubari Muni and Garudji. There is a story of Suruchi offending Dhruva, little 5-year-old Dhruva, and then she herself got burnt in a forest fire. So Vaishnava Prad is very serious. Akrur, such a great devotee. He is the Acharya for Vandanam. Every morning we are singing all these Ashtakams and prayers. But according to our Acharyas, the main Acharya who teaches us how prayers are to be offered is Akrur. He is the Acharya for Vandanam. He got implicated in Vaishnava. Hare Krishna. Because he took Krishna away from Vrindavan. And Srimati Radharani and all the gopis, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, Maya, Subal, Shridham, Ujjwal, Madhumangal, Stoka Krishna, they were all fainting in deep sorrow and lamentation at the thought of Krishna Balram leaving Vrindavan. And Akrur was so cruel hearted that he whipped his horses of the chariot and rode away. And because of that, he got implicated in Vaishnava. And he lost his good intelligence in the Shamantak jewel. And he wanted to marry Satyabhama. Such bad intelligence. He wanted to marry the consort of the Lord. So all those things are there. So many examples of Vaishnava Prad are. Therefore, we should be very careful of Vaishnava Prad. We should be very careful. And we should focus on the good qualities of devotees. I hope this is okay, Kasturi Manjari Mata.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. I'm very grateful to you, Prabhu. Please give me your blessings, and I seek your prayers and blessings that I can really apply this, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
So there's one last comment here. Let me see. Sugandha Mataji. In the association of the devotees, if Krishna Katha is not happening all the time, but there are also talks about mundane things, because there are different levels of devotees in my group. Kanishta Madhyam Adhikari. Am I judging the devotees? What should I be doing in my case? Because where will I find a group with only serious devotees? Sugandha Mataji, you have asked such a wonderful, very, very nice, practical question. And yes, we see this all the time. People come for Bhakti Vriksha meeting, and as long as the lecture is going on, the kirtan is going on, things are good. But when we sit down to eat prasad, gossip. How is the market? How is the investments doing? How is that? How is this? Idhar ye sale laga hai. So many nonsense topics not related to Krishna. Because see, these topics are not bringing us close to Krishna. So they should not be discussed. When such a thing happens, Sugandha Mataji, we should try to divert the conversation back to Krishna with our friends, the friends that we are sitting with. We should say, so Mataji, can you tell something that you heard or read in the last few days, some nectar, please let's share. Because see, it's very important. We may be eating Krishna Prasad, but if we are eating Krishna Prasad while gossiping, while talking mundane materialistic things, then that prasad will not have the same effect. But while eating, if we have the consciousness of gratitude that Krishna has come in the form of this prasad to purify me. So prasad anna dilo bhai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Krishna has given me his own prasad, his own mercy in the form of this food. So let me say anna amrita pao. It is amrit. Say anna amrita pao, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gunagao. While eating, we have to chant the glories of Radha Krishna, not mundane talk. So therefore, if we have this consciousness and we talk Krishna Katha while eating, then the prasadam will have great effect. I remember the temple where I was trained, Shri Radha Gopinath Mandir in Chowpatty, Mumbai. There is a rule that whenever prasadam is being honored by devotees, they are all sitting and eating prasadam. One devotee is sitting with a microphone and reading Krishna book or Prabhupada Leelamrit throughout the year, every day, during every meal. So there is no talking while eating. You are hearing a recitation of Krishna book or Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit. Always. And even during DT worship, on the loudspeaker, there is Prabhupada's lectures playing all throughout the DT worship. So that when we are doing DT worship, we are hearing Krishna Katha from pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, our Acharya. So we should divert the conversation to topics of Krishna. We should not judge them. We should not criticize them, even in the mind. Like you rightly pointed out, there are devotees in different levels of spiritual realization. And Krishna consciousness is a journey. We don't become Krishna Premi Bhaktas, Krishna Prem overnight. It's a journey. So we are all on the journey. We are all like dirty kids standing in the shower. Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. Krishna Katha, Krishna Sankirtan will cleanse us, will purify us. But we have to stand for 5-10 minutes. No? So we have been polluted for millions of lifetimes. And we just came to Krishna consciousness a few years ago. So, and we are so inattentive that we are not even standing in the flow of the shower. We go here, we go there, water is not falling on us, which means during chanting, during kirtan, during harikatha, we are distracted. So we are not tapping into the frequency. So therefore, we have to be attentive, and we should let the process work. We should not criticize them. And very soon Krishna will give us mercy. Krishna will shower his mercy upon us. Is that okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice. Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Thank you. And always you should associate with devotees who are sajatiya, who are like-minded. That is the key to spiritual success. But if that is not physically available, whatever devotees are there, we should try to inspire them. We should try to be good example. Srila Prabhupada said that we are always saying we want association of devotees. We want association of devotees. Srila Prabhupada said, but you also become that association for others. We say, "Na, I want association of devotees." No, but we also have to become that association for others. We have to be good devotees. Srila Prabhupada said, you should always think that I am fallen, but don't act fallen. So we say, oh, I am fallen, I am fallen. Prabhupada said, yeah, you can think you are fallen, but don't act fallen. Hare Krishna. So like that. So we should seek out Sajatiya Sangha, association of like-minded devotees. If that is not there, we should try our best to inspire them in the right direction. What mood we have gathered from our Guru Maharaj, from Srila Prabhupada, we should try to imbibe that, and we should try to spread that mood. So like that. Is that okay, Sugandha Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Hare Krishna. We will stop here. There's one more comment. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sojana Mataji. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Bhagavad ki jai, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Mahashaya ki jai. Hitai Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Jai
Thank you,
Srila
Prabhuji.